This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to show 272 of Aussie Mac Zone. Zarn, how are you tonight, bud?
Fantastic, Michael. How are you?
Very, very good, thank you. Very good indeed.
Excellent.
Tonight we are brought to you by IT Help to You and Aussie Tech Heads Podcasting. Now, our Aussie Apple ramblings this week. Wide reports, a teen hacks Apple and won't share how. This is different to the other teens. So as it turns out, Apple has had multiple run-ins with teens this week. In the second instance, an 18-year-old German hacker demonstrated a vulnerability in macOS that lets an attacker steal passwords that are stored in the keychain. Perhaps more importantly, he has also pointedly decided not to share how he did it. That's not out of malice, hopefully, but in protest of Apple's lack of macOS bug bounty program, a system that pays out hackers for finding and disclosing bugs. Apple does have an invite-only bug bounty set up for iOS, but not its desktop counterpart. So that's a bit of a worry. Yeah.
So one of them hacked and said what they did, and this other one hasn't. Is that right?
No, yeah, but one was on iOS.
Yep.
And this one's on the Mac.
Okay, so if someone's hacked the phone and someone's hacked your computer, and so yep. Okay,
yeah. Yep. So we believe they've fixed the iOS phone group FaceTime one.
Oh yes, sorry. That. Yep.
Yeah, but this one he hasn't told how he's doing it, but apparently he can get your passwords out of keychain.
Right.
But we don't know how yet, and how whether he's got to be there or whether he's got to be somewhere else. Don't know.
Good evening, Kellyanne. Kellyanne just said good evening.
Okay, excellent. Hello, K.A. Deedy.
And
anybody? Yeah.
So he's not telling anyone how he's done it. Has he got proof that he did do it?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
I was going to say, is he just threatening and talking junk?
No. I believe he's demonstrated it.
Yep. But he won't won't tell you how he's doing it. He's just saying he's...
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. Gotcha.
Yep. So don't forget, anybody that wants to be on the show as a guest, please contact Michael at aussiemaczone.com.au. And I was having an email chat today with a friend of the show, Steve from Thailand.
Oh, fantastic.
And have to try and get him back on. He's been on before, and we'll just have to try and get him back on. It's the timing's a bit up the creek, but we'll work on that.
How you doing, Steve? Hopefully we can get you on and work out the time difference.
Yep.
And do that. They're not too far. Is it behind us? Would they be? Or ahead of us? Which one are they?
I can't remember. Ahead, I think. I think he's still I think it's about 5 o'clock now over there. I think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So
they're similar to Western Australia.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's not too bad.
No. So ProPublica reported Google has quietly dropped a ban on personally identifiable web tracking. Now, Google is the latest tech company to drop the long-standing wall between anonymous online ad tracking and users' names. When Google bought the advertising network DoubleClick in 2007, Google founder Sergey Brin said that privacy would be the company's number one priority when we contemplate new kinds of advertising products. And for nearly a decade, Google did in fact keep DoubleClick's massive database of web browsing records separate by default from the names and other personally identifiable information Google has collected from Gmail and its other login accounts. But this summer, Google quietly erased the last privacy line in the sand, literally crossing out the lines in its privacy policy that promised to keep the two pots of data separate by default. In its place, Google substituted new language that says browsing habits may be combined with what the company learns from the use of Gmail and other tools. Now, the change is enabled by default for new Google accounts, and existing users were prompted to opt in to the change this summer. The practical result of the change is that double-click ads that follow people around on the web may now be customized to them based on your name and other information. Other information Google knows about you. It also means that Google could now, if it wished to, build a complete portrait of a user by name based on everything they write in email, every website they visit, and the searches they conduct. The move is a sea change for Google and a further blow to the online ad industry's long-standing contention that web tracking is mostly anonymous. In recent years, Facebook, offline data brokers, and others have increasingly sought to combine their troves of web tracking data with people's real names. But until this summer, Google held the line. The fact that double-click data wasn't being regularly connected to personally identifiable information was a really significant last stand, said Paul Ohm, faculty director of the Center on Privacy and Technology at Georgetown Law. It was a border wall between being watched everywhere and maintaining a tiny semblance of privacy, said, and that wall has just fallen. We updated our ad system and the associated user controls to match the way people use Google today across many different devices, Favell wrote. She added that the change is 100% optional. If users do not opt into these changes, their Google experience will remain unchanged. But existing Google users were prompted to opt into the new tracking this summer through requests with titles such as some new features for your Google account. So, yeah, there we go. They've even more and more and more. Right down. I don't use Gmail, so...
I use Gmail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, like... They can try to send me ads for what I Google, but I'm sure they're...
Well, that's the challenge. That's the challenge, you know. The two challenges I see are... one is they keep sending you the ads for, a nice new jacket because you looked at one.
Yeah.
And bought it, and they keep sending you the ads.
Yeah, exactly.
I've already bought it.
I know, and not just that. Like, I like to go on and just go to car sales, or I'll go whatever and look at old cars.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I want to buy one.
Yeah.
I just like to go and browse, and because I'm a car guy, I like cars.
Yeah.
So I'll go on a web page or wherever and have a look at cars and see how much they are. Or I might Google a certain bike or something like that. And
yeah.
And if they're going to start sending me ads and everything for that, there's no use. You're barking up the wrong tree. I just like looking at them. So.
Yeah, it is a fine line, and obviously the line doesn't exist anymore in regards to Google anyway. So, yeah. When you're using your phone, when you're using Gmail, and there are lots of benefits for using Gmail. If you opt into the Google thing where you sign in, and yes, they search everything, but your emails get tracked, but then they go into your calendar when you're going on a flight and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's good, but yeah. So, a reminder this week, we are brought to you by IT Help to You. Now, IT Help to You is a small, long-standing Mac repair company or Mac support company or networking support, making Apples and IBMs talk, and been around for a long time, doing all of that sort of thing. So if anybody's interested, look up ithelptoyou.com.au, have a browse through the comments by previous customers, and have a look. You might be interested. Online support these days, logging into your computers, your Apple computer's easy if you've got Messenger iMessage running, because it'll let me log into your computer. It's like that. You can get on-air support live, and you're there making sure, watching what I do. I can't do it in the background or anything using iMessenger. So there you go.
That's right.
ithelptoyou.com.au. Yeah, there's the Apple Maps pick for this story, Zarn. I've got 9 to 5 Mac reports. Apple Maps adds more indoor maps for malls and airports and expands transit directions to new cities. So Apple just recently updated Apple Maps with new transit direction for cities and expanded support for indoor maps for malls and airports. Now, today's Apple Maps updates, the Apple Maps updates are being done server-side, so no software update is required. So you also get transit directions will be available outside of the US in Australia. So that's for, there's lots of transit information available for, I haven't tried it in Sydney yet to check out the transit directions, but we have maps for malls. Now, I've got a list of the Australian ones here, now available in the following cities. This is all Australian that I'm about to read out. So the shopping centre in Brookvale, Burwood, Corindale, Cheltenham, Chermside, East Gardens, Hornsby, Hurstville, Liverpool, Merrimack, Miranda, Parramatta, Penrith. It says Sydney and Upper Mount Gravatt.
I should work at Upper Mount Gravatt.
There you go. And Sydney, the Sydney one is Westfield, Sydney. Yep. They're talking about when they're talking.
So Westfield's Penrith as well has got a full map. Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah, and so
all the stores or just the layout of the centre itself?
No, but that's got the stores in the layout.
That's fantastic. So
there's a little button there. You can see the red arrows pointing to it for the people that can actually see it now, and the picture will also be in the show notes. So it says more info. What's it say? More info or more?
Look inside.
Look inside. That's right. So you click that, expands out, and there's where all the stores are and what level they're on.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So if I'd kept reading, for those of us who have not used Apple Maps, to look inside of a shopping centre or airport, you can see on the map for those watching live in the show, or it'll be in the show notes, a look inside caption. You click, this enlarges the area, and you can zoom in even more to find the store you're actually looking for.
So I'm going to go and have a play with that anyway. Like, I've got to go into Penrith tomorrow.
Yep.
So once we're done doing what we're doing, I'm going to go into Penrith Westfields and have a play with it.
Yes. Yeah. But you can do it from home. You can do it from home tonight to learn the best way, the fastest way to get to that particular shop.
So I can go in the maps and actually type in Penrith Plaza and then go and look at the best way to get to a shop as well.
Yeah, because you just get more info and then boom. Or, if you're going to the airport tomorrow, you click on Melbourne Airport, you click on more info, whichever you'll notice the Melbourne one is also, it's got more info for that terminal, more info for that, right. Terminal 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, terminal. Yep. Yeah, we got Terminal 4. Look inside. Terminal 3. Look inside. There's another terminal there. I think it must be Terminal 1. Look inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And it's got on the
pretty cool
side of the picture here. You got gates, baggage claim. It's telling you where the toilets are, where you can get your food and your coffee and that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, just making things easier for all of us.
Yeah.
Now, an Apple exec, and we don't know which one, could have been Phil Schiller, met with a teenager who found the FaceTime bug at his Arizona home and advised him he will be eligible for the bug bounty program, being an iOS bug, see? Now, the FaceTime bug that made waves as a result of 9to5's coverage last week was actually first reported to Apple by Grant Thompson and his mother. However, deficiencies in the Apple bug reporting process meant that the report was not acted upon by the company. Instead, the teenager made headlines when his mother shared their Apple communications on Twitter. Their claims were later proved to be legitimate. Around January 22, Apple support directed them to file a radar bug, which meant the mother had to first register to be a developer as an ordinary customer. Right. And even after following the indicated step, it does not appear that Apple's product or engineering teams were aware of the problem until its viral explosion a week later.
Wow.
Because that's not where you're supposed to lodge a security issue.
Yep.
Apple took down group FaceTime servers to prevent the bug from happening as a short-term workaround a few hours after the bug was published. Customers are still waiting for it to come back. I believe it's back now. I haven't tried it tonight. CNBC reports that an unnamed higher-level Apple executive met with the Thompsons at their home in Tucson, Arizona on Friday. They apparently discussed how Apple could improve its bug reporting process and indicated that Grant would be eligible for the bug bounty program. They also indicated that Grant would be eligible and would hear from their security team the following week in terms of what that meant, said Michelle Thompson. If he got some kind of bug bounty for what he found, we'd certainly be put it to good use for his college, because I think he's going to go far. And hopefully this is actually a field he has interested in before, and even more so now.
That's so cool. How old is he?
He's a teenager, so I think he's 15 or 16.
That's great. And so if they've given him a bounty for finding that bug, and
so that we're talking, it might be 25 grand. We're not talking
that's decent.
$2.
So then if they're going to put that towards a college fund or something like that for him,
yeah.
And they're interested in his work, and hopefully they want him to follow that on. You never know, you may hear this kid's name again.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Or he may find lots of things but never tell us.
Yeah.
which is good as well. I'm happy for him to keep getting paid and keep finding bugs.
Yeah, keep going, kid. Doing a great job.
Now here's a really weird one. This one's got me baffled. Apple is being sued because two-factor authentication on an iPhone or Mac takes too much time. So you'd be trying to log in somewhere.
Yeah.
It happens to me. So when I trying to go into Apple's GSX site, which is the repair part of the Apple repair, and every couple of weeks it'll say, got to do two-factor authentication. Type in the code we just sent to your phone.
Yep.
Or any of your Apple devices, and it'll just comes up with 4 numbers. Takes about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, a class action suit has been filed that accuses Apple's two-factor authentication of being too disruptive to users, taking too much time out of a user's day when it is needed, and abusive since it can't be rolled back to less safe login method after 14 days.
Absolute garbage.
The suit filed by Mr. Brodsky in California alleges that Apple doesn't get user consent to enable two-factor authentication. Furthermore, once enabled, two-factor authentication imposes an extraneous login procedure that requires the user to both remember a password and have access to a trusted device or trusted phone number when a device is enabled.
What's the problem with that?
Yeah. Filing paperwork associated with the suit also alleges that harm is being done and potential class members have been and continue to suffer harm, including economic losses based on a waste of personal time for an extended login process that has become a multi-step process. It's called two-factor authentication.
I know. I've got it on all of my.
Going to be a multi-step process, but it's called two-factor.
I use this all the time because I do. It's not that I forget my passwords or anything like that, but I have been hacked before. I now have tightened my passwords; they're a lot longer, a lot more characters, that sort of stuff. But now anything on my phone or anything like that, if you want to get in there, it's a two-step process. You have to have 2 steps. I put in my password, and then I get a message, and I add that code.
I know.
It's my safety. I don't understand. It's for me.
I know. The filer alleges that a software update enabled two-factor authentication on or around September 2015. However, neither macOS El Capitan nor iOS 9 released in the timeframe put forth by the filer mandated two-factor authentication, nor implemented it without an explicit and multi-step opt-in procedure requiring the user to consent. It is required to take advantage of some of Apple's services like home sharing, HomeKit hubs, however. Brodsky alleges that the email that Apple sends after two-factor authentication is enabled is insufficient to warn the user that the setting is irrevocable. The filing calls a link in an email to a page to reset the configuration unobtrusive, but did not specify would have been more sufficiently notable in a 3-paragraph email. So basically one paragraph says, click here to stop it. That whole story just baffles me.
Yep.
I have to admit.
I don't understand the complaint here. It's for our own personal safety.
Yes. I'm just making... Yes. So Now, also this week we are brought to you by ATH, ATH
Podcasting.
Aussie Tech Head Podcasting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And don't forget, if you think about being a podcaster, you may want to join the network and get support. Have a think about that, or have a think about getting your show put on Aussie Tech Radio, which is hosted by ATH Web Hosting. So, or ATH Podcasting. Sorry, Aussie Tech Heads Podcasting. I'll get there eventually. So, yeah, it may be a thought. You know, there's plenty of things going on. As I said,
there's a whole bunch of stuff on there that's great.
Yes,
the podcasting that you can listen to as well, and not just that. It's a great little company to be with. You know, we've had, I've lost. Okay, I've lost it now. Never mind. My mind's gone a blank. Who's the head of the podcast?
Glenn.
Thank you. I'm so sorry, Glenn. I forgot your name. That is the worst ever. We've had Glenn on here a few times, and he's lovely, may I add. And memorable.
Occasionally.
Most of the time.
Cool. So I've got a FYI here. Why is my iPhone battery icon yellow? Now, a yellow battery icon means that your iOS device has low power mode enabled. So, you know, you've charged it up and it's charging up well, and you want to get back to getting the full power situation going. Go to the settings app and select battery. You can then toggle low power mode on or off. Low power mode is useful when your battery is very low and you want to prevent it from completely dying before you're able to access a charger. But yeah, thanks to appsliced.co for the answer.
Excellent.
Yes. Now another FYI, and we've got a pic here.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Yeah. This I caught this just the other day. So I'm watching the ABC News the other morning, and when they reported the financials with a crossover to ComSec analysis, there on the screen, the CAN and Apple Pay logo, slightly hidden but visible.
Yeah, Can Pay.
Can Pay, that's right.
With Tom, no?
So, yeah. So it was just there, and it was just interesting, straight up, you know. They were obviously plugging it without plugging it.
Yeah.
So it was just, yeah, it was interesting. As I said, there'll be a picture in the show notes, but yeah, and you can see that it's on heaps of billboards and stuff now.
It is.
So I wonder if they snuck that in, the CommBank, and didn't tell the rest of the bankers, like the NAB and Westpac, that they were actually succumbing to the Apple Pay situation.
I don't know if you should tell NAB anything at the moment.
So, yeah.
I'm with NAB and I'm a little bit frightened.
Now, here's some fun. This is just something you can have fun with. I'm just getting it set up here. Pardon me not looking at everything properly. So, I'm just going to play a bit of audio here for you. So, we go, because I can't say the word properly. So, hey, SIRI, what day was December? It was the 3rd of December, 1957.
It was Tuesday, the 3rd of December, 1957.
So there you go. It was Tuesday.
Will it tell you the temperature?
It was Tuesday, the 3rd of December,
No, probably not.
1957.
Ask it.
Well, of that day?
Yeah, that day. Well, asking it what the temperature was on the that day.
Hey Siri, what was the temperature?
On the 3rd of December.
What was the temperature on the 3rd of December, 1957?
In Sydney, Australia.
Guess what I found on the web for
The weather and
Wednesday,
circulation of December,
December
1957.
1957.
Yeah, it found some websites, but
Oh, awesome.
hasn't read out the answer. But yeah,
That's all right.
if you want to know what day you were born, just ask ask the question. I was trying not to do the hey SIRI so that everybody's phone went off, but anyway.
I now need to know the day I was born.
Yeah, and it's that simple.
That's great.
Yeah. So we found out we were like, our family were born Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think it was, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're all
Who's your family? Which is that?
like my wife, my son, and my daughter.
Oh wow! So you're like Monday, Tuesday. Oh wow!
For weird, but you know.
Yeah. I think. Hang on, the boys were born. Well, Hunter was born. Levi was born on Friday. And I'm out.
That's right. 2 years ago is a long time. 4 years.
Hopefully,
Yeah, it's just some fun you can have while you're in the car waiting to want to try things.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent times. What else have we got? You got anything you'd like to bring up, young Zarn?
I haven't. I'm sorry, Michael. Again,
No, that's right. There's
been busy.
Apple have had some because the Grammys were on today. Apple
G'day,
have done some Grammy specials, so you can get on and get the Grammy music, etc. Ariana Grande, who had some disagreement with the producers,
Yes.
did an ad, and that song's available. The song she was going to sing but decided not to is now available. She did an ad during the show and an Apple ad during the show, and it's available on music as well. And there was also a special for people who use Shazam during the show that they could unlock 4 months free. So
the Apple Music's offering, even if you just go on to the Apple page on online, they're offering 3 months free at the moment.
Yeah, yep.
So, which is really good. I seen that when I was looking at products today, which was you trade in your old iPhone and you can get a XR for $450 or something.
Yeah, you got to trade in a 7.
I don't know about that. I think it may have changed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you later.
Yep. Now, show promotion, show notes link each week on the show upload. The link being aussiemaxzone.com.au, and you can get into the show notes really easy from there, and you'll see the last 5 weeks worth of show notes there. Spotify, you can just search Aussie Max Zone. Now, Apple News, I did put some more information up on Apple News this week. If you go in and have a look at that, to do with scam emails. And just one other thing, while I remember that, for people in Australia and those that can get the iView app for Australia, I think it's Four Corners is doing a episode story tonight on, the South African, etc. web scammers that send you the email and say,
Nigerian. You mean Nigerian princes?
Yes, them. Yeah, all that sort of situation.
I'm
and
soon to be rich.
Yeah. So there's a whole thing on scammers there, which is tonight's Four Corners episode. So we all need to catch up and have a look at that.
Fantastic.
But I think that's on right now.
Luckily, we have iView.
That's right. So, that's just a reminder. Now, thanks to our sponsors this week being Aussie Tech Heads Podcasting and IT Help to You. And more importantly, our supporters, you, our listeners. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Over to Zarn.
Thanks to sponsors. Thanks to the listeners. Thank you, Michael.
Cheers.
And, an apple a day keeps the androids away. See you guys.
Thank you.